Hi, welcome to the Practice Sports Coaching's YouTube channel. The presentation you're about to watch actually took place live at one of our sessions. So can I use this opportunity to invite you to come and join us? We meet every Tuesday and the details are on the screen. If you like this kind of content, can I encourage you to please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell? That way you'll get notified whenever we release any new content. Let me not take too much of your time. Enjoy today's presentation, and I look forward to seeing you soon. So today, we are going to be talking about influence and persuasion. I must admit, when I first had the idea of doing this theme, I was hesitant because I didn't know how certain coaches would react to a subject like influence and persuasion. Now, yes, there is a negative connotation when you're talking about influence and persuasion, and that's not what I want to dwell on today. What I want to be able to do is equip you, and I don't feel I will do that much justice because I only have about 10 minutes to talk about these two very important topics. And you will typically find them anywhere when it comes to things like sales or leadership. These are topics that will typically play a prominent role. So let's look at this subject of influence and persuasion. And I'm just going to just quickly try and give a little bit of a definition to it. When you're talking about influence, you're really talking about the ability or the capacity to affect a person's character or development of thoughts or behavior. You're looking at that, I would say it's almost like a superpower that one has, whereby you don't have to use force. You don't have to demand or issue instruction, but simply by who you are and what you do, you affect the people that are around you. And I think influence is such an amazing power to have, because if people are around you are influenced by how you do certain things, and that's why so many companies pay a lot of emphasis on creating the core values of the culture of the business, because that in itself influences the staff and the mentality and the mindset of people. You can achieve greater results through influence than you can with demand or shouting. I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, how frustrated they are with their line manager because all the line manager does is shout and yell at people. And I just simply said, that's really a sign of bad leadership. A good leader knows how to influence. A good leader knows how to achieve the goal and purpose without necessarily yelling or shouting or always issuing commands and instructions. So influence is about the capacity to affect a person's character or development or the way they think or even behavior. It's simply about producing effect without exerting force. And it's definitely a skill that can be developed and is critical in any form of leadership. Let's look at persuasion. And you will come across persuasion, whether you like it or not, if you're going to sell your services to someone. Persuasion is simply about convincing a person to believe in something, to get them to change their mind. If they're moving in one direction, they want to go one way. The way you will get them to move in an opposite direction is by your ability to persuade them so that they can then take a specific action. And you will typically find people who use their persuasive skills in areas of leadership, but also in sales. Salespeople are amazing. You can walk into a shop and you meet a good salesperson, and they will be able to present not only their argument, their thoughts, the facts about something that will cause you within a short moment to totally change how you think. And it's so important, especially in terms of what we do. When used well, persuasion is a valuable skill that will help you achieve your desired outcome. And that is so true. Your ability to persuade will often depend on how successful you are, will have a bearing on how successful you are in converting sales. Because not everybody will immediately recognize they need your help. There's so many people that you have what it takes to help them achieve their goal, help them achieve their desired objective, but they don't recognize it. And simply because you've got what it takes doesn't necessarily mean they will naturally gravitate towards you. But your ability to present what it is you're offering in a persuasive manner can cause them to not only recognize you, but also buy into what you are selling. Let's go back and let's look at different types of influence. And this is important to just quickly say that the different types of influence. And one type of influence is negative influence. And negative influence really focuses on power, authority, title. You know, it's like me going, I'm the boss. What I say goes. Everybody's got to do what I say. People will only stay with you as long as they need to stay with you, but they'll never buy into what you're doing or what you're saying. And the first opportunity they've got to get out, they will get out. And clients don't typically want someone who, you know, purely focuses on the fact that they're the coach. They know it all. As a business coach, I am always so careful not to be the person that sounds like I know everything. Because the truth of the matter is, we don't. We're not coaches because we're the most skilled or the most knowledgeable or the most experienced. That's not what makes us coaches. What makes us coaches is our heart and our desire to help other people achieve their goals. But if we stand in the position that, yes, I should be the only person that should speak because of the authority and power we have, you will see very poor results and the impact will be negative. Then you've got neutral influence, and so many people fall into this category. Neutral influence. When you say somebody has a neutral influence, it simply means they don't bring to the table or take anything away. It's almost as if their presence has little impact. They're there, you know, they go through the routine. And I would often say this, and many of you would have heard me say this, that a coach's job is not purely to sit down like a therapist and listen to somebody, you know, talk to them for an hour. Then at the end of the hour, thank you for your time. See you next week. That's not what we're there for. Yes, we use questions, but questions are designed to open up, to cause the clients to see things and gain greater clarity, help them get the focus that is required. But if a client meets you and leaves you and has not been impacted by your presence, by your mannerisms, by the questions you ask, then the influence you have is literally neutral. Neutral influence is basically, I'm not productive, I'm not proactive. You know, clients, they're not too bothered whether clients are motivated. But one of the things I love about coaches is that it's almost like we are champions for our clients. It's almost like we're standing on the sidelines, cheering them up. We are anything but neutral influences. Then you have the positive influence. The positive influence is when the coach is intentional and brings to the table energy and effort. I would be one of the things I like to do, and probably I can get away with it because I'm a business coach. Anytime I'm meeting a business owner, one of the things I always like to do is do as much research about the person and about their business as possible. If it's online, I want to find out about it because I want them to see how prepared I am and excited and intentional I am about working with them. And all of this has an impact. And when you bring that energy to the table, it transmits, it literally energizes the atmosphere. There you begin to see that desire to change and the results that will come from it. And finally, you've got life-changing influence. I mean, this is something we will all like to at one point achieve. Very few people actually get to this stage. You know, life-changing influence is literally when I think some of the examples I came across of people like Jesus Christ. You know, people who would, you know, not just affect a person's life once, but continually long after they've left them. I must admit, I met some people, some old friends I haven't seen in years ago, and I remember somebody quoting something I said over 20 years ago. I didn't even remember the conversation. I didn't even remember the set of circumstances. But that conversation I had such a profound impact in their life that till today, they still remember it long after I've forgotten about it. And that's what you would call a life-changing influence. So those are the different types of influences. You definitely don't want to be a negative influencer or a neutral influencer. You want to be positive in all that you do. Now, let's jump to persuasion. And we're going to talk about modes of persuasion. So how do you begin to persuade? I've only got a few minutes left, so I've literally got to run through this. How do you begin to persuade someone? We've talked about influence. Let's look at persuasion. Now, there's generally three fundamental modes of persuasion. The first one is credibility. Are you credible? One of the things that I must admit disappointed me greatly when I came into the coaching industry was I didn't see credibility. And credibility is often demonstrated by character, by credentials, by commitment, by consistency, by sticking to your word. How credible? If you tell me X plus Y will give me Z, you know, can I bank on that at the end of what you're speaking to me about, I will definitely achieve the Z. And credibility is so important because when you have credibility, then people don't begin to, you don't need much persuading in getting them to buy what it is that you're offering. If you talk about many of the great brands today, like Apple and Microsoft, you don't need anybody to persuade you about their credibility. It's there, it's visible. When you talk about the big coaches that are successful and are doing well, they have a lot of testimonials that substantiate how credible they are. So think about credibility. If you're just starting on your journey as a coach, one of the things you have to have at the back of your mind is, I have to be credible. If I say I'm going to show up, show up. If I say I'm going to do something, do something. My word has to match the outcome. I can't say one thing and do another thing. So credibility is important. Another mode of persuasion is emotions. If you're going to persuade somebody to buy into what you're selling, you've got to tap into their emotions. And people are more likely to make a decision to use your service if you can hit them in their emotions than if you simply give them the logic of it. If you identify, and I often tell people, listen, if you're going to sell something to someone, first of all, find out what they need. Find out about their challenges. Find out about the things about their life that isn't working, because you need to understand that first before you begin to sell, because then you will tailor your presentation to their need. If you just simply start a conversation and simply tell them all about you and all about your service without first understanding their needs, you will lose out. But the moment you connect with their emotions, and sometimes it's the happy emotions, things that make them happy, but sometimes you'll tap into things they're frustrated about, things they don't like. If somebody says, oh, I've been to this coach, I've been to that coach, they took my money, blah, 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 and didn't deliver, then you know, okay, I need to start there because that thing upsets them. So tap into their emotions. Finally, logic. So we've talked about credibility, we've talked about emotions, and the third mode of persuasion is logic. If you're talking to business people, you're talking to politicians or scientists, you need to have your facts and figures, down to the T, because the only way you'll be able to persuade them is with what you can substantiate. They need to know it adds up. It makes sense. If you talk to an accountant will not accept what you're saying till they see the numbers and the numbers stack up. So in this case, you're focusing on the head, not the heart, not the credibility, the ethics, or the morality of the thing. You're focusing on the head. So if you're selling a service, how many people have used it? What was the results like? What was the impact? Can you quantify it in monetary terms? How long does it take for you to achieve that certain goal? All of that enables you to effectively persuade someone to, sign up to the services that you offer. So finally, how do you improve your persuasion skills? I find preparation. I do a presentation whereby I go preparation. It's all about preparation. The better prepared you are, the better you're going to be at persuading someone to sign up to what you're offering. Secondly, connection. Find a common ground. People were more likely to buy from you if they find something that connects with you. In all my previous roles that have involved sales, the first thing I want to look at is, how do we connect? Were we born in the same town? Did we go to the same school? What is it that connects us together? What experiences, what life-changing impact have we gone through that connects together? So find a common ground. Then find what motivates them. Some people are motivated by savings. If the motivation is, I want to get something, but I want to pay the least amount for it. Find what motivates them and latch onto it, but be solution focused. So when you see a problem, don't go on about the problem. Identify how your solution can help meet the needs. If you're going to improve your persuasion skills, you've got to develop your communication skills, and you've got to have confidence. People buy from confident people. So as we go into our breakout rooms, I'm going to put these 3 questions in the chat before we go. So 3 questions in which we can ask. You can use them or you can have your own. I want you to share with us your experience when it comes to persuasion and influence. It could be about you being on the receiving end or you being on the giving end. What is your experience when it comes to persuasion and influence? And also, what area do you struggle in this particular 2 topics? Especially when it comes to persuasion. Where do you struggle with that? Maybe the coaching session will help you. And what steps can you begin to take today to help improve your skills in this area?